January 3rd, 2022. From El Cajon, California, this is episode 248 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. My name is Mark Duvall, and sitting across from me is Dr. Mike.
Hello.
Happy New Year, Mike.
Happy New Year.
Got any resolutions, gambling resolutions, or plans for this year?
No, I'm just hoping I make it till the end.
Oh, good for you.
The end of this year.
I'm hoping for that, too.
That's about as far in the future as I can see.
Well, I had a really good year, 2021, so all I can hope for is just as good, although I doubt that's going to happen. I definitely had some good luck this last year. You know, I went up to the casino yesterday just by myself, and of course, everybody was asking about you. And Jeremy was the dealer on my side of the table for most of the time we were there, and we were both speculating on how you would be doing at that table,
Yes.
you know, if you were there. And we both agreed that you would have been doing pretty poorly because, I mean, the dice were cold, but also you have a lot of action on the come-out roll, prop bets kind of thing. Nothing was hitting.
Yeah.
You know, hard ways weren't repeating. It was just
Right.
nothing at all. So you should be glad you didn't go up there.
Well, Mark, you can say that about 98% of the time.
Good thing you didn't go to the
Good thing
casino.
you didn't go.
Jeremy, you know, and at the end, Jeremy said, boy, you guys really bet differently. You know, and I thought, well, yeah, we do. I mean,
Yeah.
It is quite a bit different on the table, but we play how we like to play, and we encourage people to do that too. Whatever is fun, whatever makes it the most fun at the table. All right, well, a new year here. Right after Christmas, I went to Jamul Casino with my sister and mother. It's kind of a yearly tradition, the week between Christmas and New Year's. You know, we try to hit one of the local casinos.
Your mother likes to play.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, she loves to get out, and she loves to play the slots. That's what we went for mainly, you know, slot play, which was terrible, of course.
Right. That's not a big casino either. There's not a lot of...
It's not that big. I kind of like that in a way, though.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's like, oh, let's go to some other location, you know, maybe change our luck. But, you know, there aren't too many places
not
you
out
can
there,
go,
yeah.
But we played a Wheel of Fortune machine, and, you know, we hit the spin a couple times, but then it just landed on the minimum. You know how that goes, right?
You think, oh, I got to spin, and then it's the minimum.
Right. You know, you win less than you would if you'd lined up three good things.
Right.
On the line
Right.
there.
That's always depressing.
But we ate there at the Tony Gwynn Sports Pub, which this is a second time eating there, and my mom loves it there. She gets short ribs there, which is very good.
Yeah.
It's a good location. They have big screens. Really the only thing, this was like a Wednesday afternoon, so the only thing on the screen was like Premier League soccer. But, you know, it's a good atmosphere there.
Do you think they use his name and paid money to his family?
They have
or
to. Yeah,
do you think it's owned by his family?
Oh, I see what you're saying. That's a good question. I assume that they pay him. I don't think it's owned by the family. I think it's. I'm speculating here. I don't know.
Naming rights.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, his family here are obviously getting something out of it because his name's everywhere and stats and, you know, all sorts of
Maybe
things
free
like that.
short ribs.
Maybe they just, here's your weekly shipment. Could we get money instead? I mean,
I think I'd take the short ribs in today's world.
It's like currency.
Speaking, this is totally off topic.
All right.
But I'm watching a World Series of Poker event. You know, they've been playing them on TV.
Yeah.
And one of the guys said that if he won the event, he was going to take half the winnings and buy Bitcoin.
Okay.
He was going to take 1/4 of the winnings and buy alcohol and women.
Buy alcohol and women. Okay.
Yeah. And the other quarter of the winnings he was just going to blow.
So the joke, of course, is 100% of it is being blown.
Yeah. Right. But I love that a quarter goes to women and alcohol and half to Bitcoin, like those are great things. And the other 40%, just screw around with it.
That's right. Well, I'm hoping that Tony Gwynn's family gets money.
Gets
instead
more
of,
than short ribs.
Yeah, bovine currency. But I played a little craps when we were there. Oh, well, so a couple of friends of ours who play in our weekly home game. It was David and Bill. They were out there playing in a poker tournament. There's like a $60 daily tournament that they have out there. So they were playing there. So saw them for a little bit. They watched me play craps because they were kind of curious about it. They don't play that often. And then they were playing some 6-card poker too, which is a carnival game.
And how did they do at the poker tournament?
Bill was the bubble boy.
Oh,
and
no.
David came in 7th place.
Oh,
So I'm not sure
okay.
how much he won, but yeah.
Yeah.
But Bill said he made up for it at the cash games. So
Good.
he was
He
a
was-
winner
yeah.
for the day.
All right, good.
Yeah. But we had a good time. Not a winner, even the craps. So craps, $10 minimum and 10 times odds. I don't know
Yeah.
when they switched to that because remember
It used to be 5
used to be
times.
full 5 times odds. Now it's 10 times odds. No side bets.
Yeah.
But a good crew. I'll tell you one thing that has not changed at Jamul, Mike. It's the terrible line at the cashier. It's just awful. Now, luckily, they've got a separate line for their highest tier and for people who are just cashing in chips. So I was able to...
And they have a cashier there for that line?
No, it's still a row of cashiers, and they just call, from the 2 lines.
Oh, okay.
As far as the other line goes, I think it's also part of their players club. You know how they combine that,
Right.
which I don't like, right?
Right. They should have a separate
But
area.
just this huge, I can't imagine how long these people were staying in line. So if you wanted like a cash advance or something or
Right.
any other transaction that wasn't chips related, it was terrible. So
Well, every casino has this problem,
Mm.
and I don't get it. I really don't. I mean, I'm sure they're saying now that it's, quote, hard to find employees.
Well, staffing,
and
right.
Staffing issues. But on New Year's Eve at Harris Rincon,
Mm.
there were over 40 people in line. Now, they have 3 lines, one for 7-star, one for diamond, and then for the other 2 levels, there's a line.
yeah, golden.
So
platinum,
there
yeah.
were 40 people in line, 2 cashiers working. And then they're giving away 50,000 every hour. So I just happened to be by there when they had just given away 50,000.
Uh-huh.
And the person has to come up to the cashier and go through all this paperwork.
Yeah.
So one of them's doing her. And so there's one cashier servicing these people. And of course, there's like 6 people in the 7-star line. And one guy at the front was just irate because they didn't take him. But she's like, well, these other lines are huge. I've got to take somebody.
Yeah, you can't just take...
Otherwise, it'll always be just 7-star. The
Yeah.
other people will never get waited on. And, it's people getting cash too.
Right, yeah,
So
cash
they're
advances,
using
stuff like
their
that.
cash advances, and it takes time. And it's just ridiculous. I'm thinking New Year's Eve, come
Yeah.
on. You don't have every cashier working.
Yeah.
That was
And,
like 8 o'clock.
Mike, we've been there before when it's a huge line, only 2 cashiers, and then maybe 5 or 10 minutes, all the cashiers come out.
Right.
So, were they on break or I don't know.
They're in
we
the back.
don't know.
I mean,
but seriously, get your staff up there.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, Mike, when I went yesterday,
Yeah.
they got rid of the 3 lines
Oh, they
for the
did?
cashier. It's now just 1 line again.
Oh, okay. Because they probably got a million complaints.
Yeah, I think that's probably it.
Yeah.
Yep, it was just 1 line again.
So 7 stars really means nothing.
It really means nothing at getting in the line again. They need
Because
to come
you
up
don't
with a
have
better
a different
system.
line
Yeah.
for the food areas. It's all 1 line
Yes,
now.
yeah, that was kind of
the cashier-
started after COVID, but yes,
right.
yeah.
The cashier's 1 line. So, what's your advantage to be 7-star? I don't get it.
Well, as far as getting in lines and stuff, at least at Harris, Southern California. I don't know what
Yeah.
it's like at other places.
Right. But anyway, that was just ridiculous. They probably got a million
I'm sure they
complaints.
did, and they
I
said,
mean, there
"We've gotta
are
go
people
back
who
to-"
had been there probably over a half hour just standing.
Oh yeah,
in
if you're a
line,
gold member,
Yeah,
you're in the back of this huge line.
Right.
They're constantly calling
The
7
diamond
stars
and
and diamond ahead of
yeah.
you. Oh, it's just it's terrible. So
Yeah, they should have just 1 cashier devoted to each line.
or
Three-
something
at
like
least-
that. I mean,
at least 3 cashiers so that each line has their own cashier. You just go forward to that person. And then if, say there's no 7-star, they can take someone from the other line.
Yeah, I
But so
understand.
that somebody's always getting
I
help.
understand that, but what if you're in the 7-star line and there's a 7-star guy who goes up and he's got this long, complicated thing?
Right,
Well, then
right.
7 stars doesn't get called for.
A long time.
I'm not
yeah.
saying I know the solution.
Yeah.
I know there are some places where the highest tiers, it's like, oh, you go around a corner to like a separate cashier.
Right,
So
right.
nobody sees it.
Right.
They're
Right.
dedicated to that, and nobody.
That actually is the best,
Yeah.
especially if you're doing long transactions. If you're a 7-star, you might be up there paying off a marker and then getting some more money and then doing this and that. You could be there for 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, the solution is on the busiest night of the year, maybe have all 5 cashiers
At
open.
least-
How about that?
Now, I know we've gone on a long time about this, but honestly, it's our least favorite part of the casino is trying to deal with the cashier, with the cage.
Right.
And we just don't see it improving. So,
Yeah. Well, you're either up there to cash out and you want to leave, or you're up there to get more money because you want to play and get back to even. And so in either case, you're in a hurry, right?
That's right. They got to start implementing what apparently they have at Resorts World, where you can cash out with a Tito ticket, right? And then just, go to the machine. All right. Anyway, we had a good time at Jamul. That's what it comes down to over the break.
Had a good time,
yeah, we all did. Actually,
okay.
Even though we lost, it was a great outing. So, yeah. Hey, we got an email from listener Mike. He says, have you thought about when you retire, do you think you will play more or less than you do now? That's a pretty good question. What do you think, Dr. Mike?
Well, I can tell you with complete 100% honesty, I will never retire.
Oh.
And nothing will ever change, and just one day I'll die.
Oh, okay.
So that question is moot.
Okay, good. So I think that's a good answer for Mike's question. I hope you like that answer.
That's a true answer. That's an honest-to-God true answer.
Well, it's a little different for you because you're self-employed and, that's your income and that kind of thing. I think when I retire, I may play more, but at much lower stakes.
Yeah.
Right? It'll probably be something I'll be doing a lot. You know what I'll probably end up doing is playing a lot more
of
poker.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot slower and,
Right.
You can play at low stakes and that kind of thing. So I could, I don't do it now because when we go up to the casino, our time's kind of precious.
Right.
But if I've got whole
if you had
days
more time.
to burn, probably play a lot more
Whole
poker.
days. That's not true
Well, of course not.
because you're going to be doing so many other things.
Oh, I know. I got to make our sports bets, right? And I got to update the TV listings.
And as you get older, just, putting your shoes on takes a half hour.
Right. That's the other thing, too.
Stuff like this, just getting going, you'll get up at 10, and then by the time you get dressed, it's 11. Then you got to eat, it's 12. Pretty soon it's like, well, God, it's already 12. I got to think about dinner now.
That's right. Sherry, I'm going to spend about 6 hours up at the casino. I get up there. I only have a half hour to play.
Right.
Got to get home. Yeah, that's probably true. Okay, so nothing's going to change for you.
No, and that's the honest to God truth. I'm not joking about that. I'm going to work till I just die. Okay, I'll just die. You'll just find me just in some rigor mortis state there.
Oh, all right. Well, send your condolences via Twitter, I guess, to Dr. Mike. I'll pass them along. Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, please go to our page first, youcanbetonthat.com, and click through our Amazon link towards the top of the page. All right, let's get to some voicemails. We held over some from last time, and we've got some new ones. So let's start out with Richard.
Mike and Mark, I'm in my room at the Venetian, and it just happened. A lifelong dream has just happened. Yes, I have joined the Royal Flush Club. Playing at the video poker bar at the Palazzo, $100 in, playing dollars, $40 down, and all of a sudden I held two. Can you imagine? I just held two. In fact, they were the worst two. The 10 and the ace of diamonds, and hit the king, queen, and jack, boom, just like that for 4,000. Fellas, it's going to happen to you. I swear to God, if it can happen to me, it's going to happen to you. And when it does, I hope you feel as good as I do right now, especially after 3 double Tito's and cranberry juice. Fellas, congratulations on your show. It's fantastic. I can't wait to hear about the day when this happens to you. Best of luck. Mazel tov. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. This is Richard from Ashburn, Virginia.
Thanks, Richard.
Poor Richard. The alcohol and the excitement of getting the royal flush and everything has made him delusional, where he thinks that at some point we're going to get one.
Yeah, I wonder if he even got it. Maybe he thought he did, and it was, one of them was a heart or something.
Just had to keep checking. Forgot he put 4,000 in the machine.
That's right. Yeah, he's talking about how he held the worst two, the ace and the 10. Now, you're no less likely to hit the royal in those situations, but you are less likely to hit some other things like straights. If you keep the king, queen of diamonds, well, you're more likely to hit some straights.
And even a pair that pays because
exactly.
You might get a 10 and you don't get
anything,
right?
Exactly, stuff like that. But anyway, congratulations.
I'm glad there are people winning. I think about this every once in a while that every moment of every day,
Yeah.
something good is happening to somebody's hitting a royal flush. Somebody's, having a
Hard way.
yeah. In both ways.
Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
Things like good are happening to people all the time. Maybe gives me some hope that at some point it'll happen to us.
Yeah, I hope so. Me, I'm kind of thinking the other way. It's like,
you're thinking
every moment there's a 7 out.
Yeah, right. That's why our style of play is different.
Yeah, that's right. You're always hopeful.
I'm always hopeful to a fault.
I'm playing scared. All right. Next up is David.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is David from NorCal calling. Thanks for answering my question on cashing out those small amounts you sometimes see left in the slot machine on your previous episode. That trip had been interesting overall. My friend had wanted to celebrate his 40th birthday in Vegas, and I'm always going to jump on an excuse to go to Vegas. Unfortunately, this particular group of friends are not into gambling, and they lean more towards the food and show experience. By the third day there, I was itching to play, so I decided to ditch the rest of the group and spend the day on the casino floor. I started off playing some craps, and it went okay, but then I took a break to try my hand at roulette. It ended up being just me and another gentleman named Gerard at the table. We started chatting, and it turned out it was his first time in Vegas. He and his family had flown in from Miami for his son's wedding the night before. After a while of drinking and gambling, I asked him if he had ever played craps before. He'd only played street craps, so I suggested we go hit the craps table. To sweeten the deal, I even offered to gift him $100 as a wedding gift, since his son had just gotten married.
Nice.
Eventually, I was able to convince him to head over, and we spent a couple of hours there just throwing dice, hanging out, and making even more friends at the table. We started nicknaming people. We had Obi-Wan, who bailed us out when we were low on chips. We had Tex whooping and hollering at the end of the table. And lastly, we had the Golden Girls. My strategy didn't pay out this time, but I was trying to be consistent and maintaining a regular style of play. But Gerard, he took that $100 gift, and he walked away with close to $700. The whole time we were there, he kept saying how crazy this experience was. I'll send you an email of his text afterwards, but basically, he was just so appreciative of meeting me and life in general. We had planned to meet up that night downtown, and I could meet his family, but unfortunately, both of us were too tired at that point. This makes my third trip now in a row where I haven't gone downtown and I haven't seen Resorts World, so my next one I really do want to go to both of those. Overall, I love the friends you can make just bonding over table games. Gerard and I actually exchanged text messages over Thanksgiving, and hopefully we'll be able to meet up again in Vegas one day. I am heading out to Vegas on the 19th for my next trip. I'm bummed that I will just be missing everyone at Zorkfest, but this is going to be an interesting trip overall as it is the first time we're going to bring the kids. It's probably going to be too late to matter for this trip, but on your next episode, can you give me some tips for Vegas with kids who are not old enough yet to be left unsupervised? Any suggestions on activities on the strip or strategies for getting some gambling time in while keeping them entertained? Thank you guys, and hope you guys have happy holidays.
Yeah, thanks. So, the craps camaraderie, meeting people at the casino
that's fun.
You don't know, and you've got this common interest, and it sounds like you hit it off with Gerard real well. Yeah.
And that transcends all barriers.
Yeah.
Or it's perceived barriers that
societal barriers
put up. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he did email us the text that he got from Gerard, and it looks like they've got a friendship now.
There you go.
Maybe they can meet in Vegas again. So it sounds like David has already gone on this trip with his kids.
Right.
But, here are a few suggestions that we come up with. First of all, try to stay somewhere that's kid-friendly, like Circus. I know a lot of people, Circus, but, they've got the amusement park right there. There's more things for the kids to do.
There's a lot to do.
Right. Or Excalibur, something like that.
Or even, we stay at Caesar's Palace several times, and because of the mall.
Oh, yeah, sure. Depending on how old the kids are. It sounds like maybe his are a little younger, but yeah.
Yeah, if you have teenage kids, they love just going in the mall and walking around and going to the food court and stuff. So,
and especially a place with a pool. Kids love pools, so, hopefully you can go, during the summer next time.
How about Circa pool that is heated and opened all winter?
Yeah, that's true, too.
Because a lot of the places are closed. You got to go to Caesar's Palace now. The pool's closed.
Yeah, that is true. But Circa is a 21 and older only crowd.
Yeah, I know, but it'd be nice if a casino had a heated pool.
Well, that's the other thing, too. If you don't go during the summer, go to a place that's either heated or indoor, something like that. Now, David was talking about how he hasn't been downtown in a while. We would recommend staying away away from downtown completely if you've got kids.
Well,
There's really very little for them
No,
downtown.
no,
Yeah.
not unless you want your 5-year-old getting a picture of a woman with just 2 little tassels on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you need that, then head downtown.
Yeah, if you need that, head downtown, right? Something like the Pinball Hall of Fame, which just
Yeah.
reopened on the Strip, something like that, right? That's fun.
There
for
used
the
to be a
kids
lot
do.
more family-oriented type things.
Well, sure,
They've
in the 90s when they were kind of trying to attract that.
They've gone away from that, but there still are some.
Sure.
There still are some.
Yeah, if you're staying at the south side of the Strip, kind of by MGM Grand there, you
Right.
got the M&M store and the Coca-Cola store, stuff like that, right?
Well, and you've got events like you can ride go-karts and stuff. If your kids are a
there's
little
all
older,
sorts,
there's stuff to do.
Yeah. Now, as far as, when to find time to gamble, I think the best thing is just to take turns with your spouse watching the kids. They do have services in Vegas that'll watch your kids, but I don't know. I just assume, take turns if you can do that. Yeah.
And if you bring some NyQuil or Benadryl along, that helps.
Yeah, nobody will blame you. Nobody would blame you.
Nobody would blame you. Yeah. They don't have those laws in Nevada because it's just so commonplace.
That's right. What are we going to do? Arrest everybody?
There are a bunch of casinos too that have things like, for instance, a bowling alley.
Oh, yeah, sure. Some of the off-strip
places have like a bowling alley. So if you're into that, you could bowl, or they have movie theaters. There's quite a few that have movie theaters. So you could go to movies, things like that.
Yeah. Maybe think about staying off-strip. If, it is going to be a pretty family-heavy, experience.
Yeah, I know when my kids were little, they enjoyed just sitting in the room watching a movie.
The pay-per-view movies.
Yeah, you could get a pay-per-view movie, like a Disney movie or something.
Right.
And they love that. They'd do that, and then they'd go eat. And, they whiled away their day.
Yeah, yeah. So good luck. Again, David's probably back from his trip, but next time you go, good luck. Let us know.
Yeah.
All right, next call.
Gentlemen, this is Adam from Denver, Colorado, calling again. Just got back from a midweek to weekend trip in Vegas. We were there Wednesday through Saturday, first week of December. I had a good time. The rodeo was in town, so it was kind of fun hanging out with all the cowboys. They're a very boisterous group. In terms of craps, I was kind of wondering about the table limits. I heard a lot about the increased table limits, but I was pleasantly surprised that there were quite a few $15 tables, which granted that's more than they used to be, but it wasn't all just 25 tables on the Strip. I found quite a few casinos, even at night and even on Friday nights, that had $15 tables, including The Link, Park MGM, New York, Venetian even had some, Resorts World, and TI. So pleasantly surprised about that because I really didn't want to play $25 tables the whole time if I didn't have to. Gambling itself was not great. Started down, came back, went down, came back a little bit, but overall had a great time. Great to continue to see Vegas come back. It was very busy. One other note on the craps tables, drink service everywhere was very good. In fact, we were having a hard time keeping up with the servers. So all in all, great trip. And I'll be back again in about a month and a half or so. So maybe I'll call back with another trip report. All right. Thanks for everything you guys do. Bye.
Good.
Glad to hear there were some $15 tables.
Yeah, and boy, I'll tell you, drink service, it's noticeable, isn't it? When the cocktail servers are coming around a lot, you notice it, right?
Yes,
it's like, hey, this is great. Wow, I'm not even done with, the drink I have. This is great. So, yeah, good to hear about that.
Well, not to rag on Southern California.
Please do. Please do.
Con too much. But on New Year's Eve, when I was there, now I was only there from 1 p.m. until 8 p.m.
Right.
7 hours.
Okay.
Played craps for maybe 6 of those 7 hours. And I never got a drink.
Never. Now, I understand it's busy.
It's busy, and one person came by early.
Yeah.
And it was just, I was in the middle of making some bets, and I heard them, but I just didn't want to stop. But that was the only time a drink person came by that table.
Okay, sure, it can be staffing. But we
Yes.
mentioned this before. I don't think they have it organized well. Nobody knows, what section they're in, right? Or, who's being
it seems
ignored.
like they go to the blackjack tables a lot and around the slots. But the craps kind of gets ignored.
All right. Well, I agree with you.
Yeah, it was bad. You would have been asking. I had a water, so I was fine.
Yeah. Well, good to hear that at least in some places in Las Vegas,
Yeah.
It's
well,
still
it's to
good.
their advantage, really.
yeah,
I mean, for a lot of reasons, the cocktail waitresses want to get tips
Sure.
and make money, and the casino wants to keep you happy because they want you to stay.
Want you to stay, and they want
I mean,
you
if
drunk.
you have to leave, if you have to leave because you're dying of thirst, that's not a good situation.
Not at all. All right. Let's hear from Nick.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Nick in Kalamazoo. I want to give you a couple quick trip reports. We had a chance to take a junket from Caesars, which we've never done before, and had an option to go to Laughlin, which we had been to before. We were there for essentially 3 days. The flight got in really late on Monday night and left very, very early on Friday morning. So it was fun. We had a good time in Laughlin, but I want to talk about our one 24-hour trip to Vegas while we were there, rented a car, and we decided to go to Park MGM. We stayed at MGM Grand. We enjoy Park MGM because it's non-smoking. It's the best reason to go there. I don't like the $15 tables, but from listening to your recent podcast, you talk about how smaller bankroll, smaller players can play on those. You need some confidence and change your betting style, to which I did. I greatly appreciate it, and here's what happened. Table is fairly full. One side of the table was a bunch of younger dudes, I guess is the nicest way to put it. So I stepped up, bought in for $200. Guy beside me buys in for $5,000. The pit boss knew him. They're chit-chat back and forth. One of the newer dudes threw, and I don't know, he hit a point, a couple numbers, etc., and then he was done. But my betting strategy, because it was such a small table, small bankroll, 5, 6, and 8 minimum amounts of 51 in action, and then take the first 2 hits, press after that. No line bet, no odds, just trying to stay away and stay alive. And I think I broke even or so on their roll. Then it came around to my side of the table, and this guy, you just had a feeling something was going to happen. I text my wife because I knew we were getting ready to eat. Last shooter. As soon as we're done, we'll go, right? He's the type of guy that's holding all his chips in one hand, throwing the dice. Everybody's betting the all tall small. Some people had $20 each on it. The dealers were on it. The hardways got up to like $300 on one of the 6s, and someone hit it. Long story short, all he needs is the 9. At some point, his wife comes up and everybody creates like a shield wall. They're like, it's not the time. Come back. We promise you it's going to be okay. Throws a dice off the table 3, 4, 5 times in a row. And he finally hits the 9. The place went nuts. People were getting paid $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 on the all tall small. It resets. I don't get back on it. I'm glad people made money. I was making money on the roll. At that point, I had a pass line bet. I had double odds. I had everything pressed across. I was happy. And he hits the small again, and people were still going crazy. And then, eventually he 7s out, of course, when the fill comes, right? I mean, that's, of course, when the 7 happens. Dude was great. Everyone was high-fiving him. I told him, hey, SportsCenter's going to be out there. You're going to be on top 10. That was an amazing roll. We were chit-chatting as everybody on our side of the table knew it was time to go. Everybody made a bunch of money. It was my first time ever getting $1,000 chip. So extremely exciting. I looked down at my phone. It had been more than an hour. The text message said 1 hour ago, time to get out. So we cashed out. Wife did really well on slots, went back to Laughlin, had a good time. The other 2 things I want to quickly tell you about was we were at our local casino, Gun Lake, after we got back, and I heard a call I'd never heard on craps before. It was a hard 4, and she said 2 ducks, no goose, to which we all kind of chuckled, and I said, I don't think I've ever heard that before. It's rare to hear a call I've never heard, so I'm not sure if you've heard that either. Lastly, Blue Chip Casino in Indiana, we went down there with what we had left from Laughlin, had a good time, $10 table for the most part, and went up to 15 at night. I get a text from my wife, hey, can you come over? I need some help. I'm standing in front of the Buffalo machine. She had 300 free spins. She had all the Buffalo. She ends up getting about a $6,000 hand pay.
Nice.
Really exciting. It was really fun. Then I walked with her to another machine. She hit the button once, hit another like $1,800 or whatever it was. And we're like, you know what? It's time to go. We're up. We paid for everything. Let's go to the room. Let's be done. So really good trip. So again, thank you for the advice. Always love the content and look forward to talking to you guys and meeting you in person one day. Have a good one. Bye.
Oh, nice.
Good stories.
Yeah,
Yeah.
congrats. I'm thinking, laughing there when he was talking about that shooter who, likes
Yeah.
holding all his chips in one hand.
who would
and
do
really,
that?
I love it when you do. Every once in a while, you don't do it all the time, but
no.
every once in a while, usually when it's a really hot roll,
Right.
you'll do it. And when the chips come in, you're trying to, move your hand in such a way you can keep them all
in one hand.
And I'm thinking, please drop them. Please drop all the chips. I want to see all the chips just go onto the table. Every once in a while it happens. Usually it doesn't. You're pretty good at holding on.
I'm pretty good at holding them. My hands continue to grow as the chip stacks, and I'm coloring them up to higher denominations.
That's right.
That's the
it's
trick.
not as big. Yeah, that's right. 2 ducks, no goose. Have you ever heard that?
No.
I haven't either.
2 ducks, I understand.
Yeah, now I have heard it, especially in poker, when you're talking about a pair of deuces, calling them ducks.
Yeah.
But no, never heard that. And I
2
don't.
ducks, no goose. Nick should have just immediately went over and goosed her. I got your goose.
That's what Nick should have done.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I agree with you there. But hey, here's an example of Nick was saying that that one episode we were talking about how you can kind of play at higher limits than you're normally comfortable with
right.
lower
He was
bankroll.
hanging
That's
in there.
good. Yeah. Good
Hanging
job,
in there
Dr.
waiting
Mike.
for the big roll.
Yeah, exactly right. Until you can get all those chips out there, which it sounds like that happened.
That's
right?
what
You got
happened.
everything.
Yeah.
All right, next call.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Denver from Dallas with a trip report from the Horseshoe in Bossier City, Louisiana. I called in back in the summer about a successful crapless crap session I had at the Mirage. This time we played regular craps. To set the scene, I'm with 5 buddies, $10 table. We're at the table for about 45 minutes, just about breaking even, here or there. Then the dice get to me. I proceed to hold the dice for 54 minutes.
Nice.
I only know this because when I crapped out, my buddy was busting my balls saying, "You couldn't make an hour?" Obviously, everybody chuckled and the table was excited. Everybody's making some pretty good money on that. The dealer that was at my end when I started shooting made it back around to the same position and told me, "Dude, you threw for 54 minutes." So that's how I knew I threw that time frame. Anyway, in that time, I made the all. It was fun. The dice get passed to the guy to my left, and then he passed them, and they pushed them down to the guy on the far end, and that guy says, "We want him to shoot the dice again," and everyone passed them back to me. I was pleading with them all that the odds of me throwing the all again or that long again was foolish and someone else should shoot the dice. Anyway, with reluctance, I grabbed the dice. Of course, we had a good time, so I was like, well, this is free money anyway. Just let them rip. And I began round 2 right after round 1. Dr. Mike, who knows how much you would have won because I threw for an hour and 10 minutes the second time. It was dumb. There's no way to even describe it. Anyway, I threw the all again, and then I also hit the small after the reset, and I only missed a third all by the 12. I just couldn't hit that 12 for the final time. All told, between the 5 of us, we cleared about $15K for the group. But here's the kicker. We were just splitting the all as a small little community gamble, $15 total, so $3 each person. If only we would have known and put 15 out there individually, we could have made probably doubled what we made because we made a lot off that. But anyway, I know I've heard stories of, you guys, doing the all and Dr. Mike, which is how you gamble. So we love to hear kind of what your thoughts on that and kind of what would happen for you.
Oh, you got cut off there. Can you imagine
Yeah,
2 hours
roll.
with only 2 7-outs?
Yeah, that'd be a big 2 hours with 2 7-outs.
Yeah. It sounded like he wasn't rolling. There could have been some 7s on the come out roll during that time.
Right.
But he was talking about hitting the small all tall right
and
so
you're
much.
repeating the
Yeah,
small
so
that second
probably,
time.
maybe only 2 7s that whole time.
Yeah, that's a $50,000
oh my gosh.
easily.
So exciting.
Yeah.
Well, that'll teach you, Denver. You're talking about, had we known. Always bet the most that you can on any wager. Especially the all small tall.
Good advice, Mark. Good advice.
Thank you.
I say start off with 10 or 15 on each one. And then when it hits and you can rebet it, make it 100.
Okay. All right. That's the way you'd go.
Yeah, sure.
My advice is to never make the bet, and that's what I follow.
Yeah.
So, you got 2, follow whosever advice you like. Dr. Mike's or mine. Mark, the pit boss, came up to me. He's, "Hey, this new bet here, Mark, you like it?" And I said, "No, I don't bet it.
Yeah.
You know me.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?" Oh, and you know what else happened? So I was on the don't for one shooter last night.
Yeah.
And of course, it was the best roll of the night. So I was getting creamed. The guy kept rolling 8. So I was going up on 8 and, losing on that. The last time, I go up to an 8 and Mark is looking at me. "What are you doing? You got to call no action on that." And I'm like, "What? no action on A. Luckily, Jeremy was there to back me up. It's like, wait, he's got the edge.
Yeah,
right. You've got the. It doesn't matter that it's a 6 or an 8. You've still got the edge. So at least a dealer was there to defend me against Mark's wanting me to say no action. And then I did win that. It was a 7 out on that last one when he said it. So.
It can go either way.
You're right, Dr. Mike.
Yeah, so whatever. Whatever floats your boat,
That's our philosophy on the show. All right, let's hear from our good friend Jeff.
Hey, Mark. This is Jeff from Virginia. Good to see you again last week in Zorkfest. Sorry we missed you, Dr. Mike. I just wanted to call in because you guys were talking on the last show about Old Homestead and not wanting to go there because, Caesar's is such a mess. Last time we were in Vegas, and actually the time before that, we went to Bugsy and Meyer at Flamingo. I would say the food there is very comparable to Old Homestead. Also, you're able to use your celebration dinner. It is at the Flamingo, but the room is really nice, and once you get in there, you're kind of thinking to yourself, is this really still the Flamingo? One other thing I wanted to mention, something I'd never seen before, I was staying at the Bellagio. They had the stadium craps. It was $5 minimum, but it was actually a $5 minimum aggregate bet. So you could actually place a come bet and multiple place bets or what have you. As long as all your bets added up to $5, you were good to go. I'd never actually seen that before. Most of those machines that I've seen anyway play like the regular push the button craps where, if it's a $5 minimum, that means $5 on the pass line, $5 on place bets, etc. It's something unusual, especially given the location at the Bellagio. Can't wait to see you all again. Hopefully, Mike, you can make it out to Biloxi. I'm planning to get out there, assuming COVID doesn't ruin the plans. Talk to you later. Bye.
Yeah, Biloxi, right?
Yeah.
First weekend of April, actually March 31st, I think it started. You said, on the last episode, Mike, you said 95% that you'd be going. Is it still 95%?
Yeah, I suppose.
Okay.
Maybe 90.
Maybe 90 now. Okay.
Maybe 90. I mean, we're still having
I know.
flights canceled
I know.
and COVID and
I know.
all this stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, talking about that aggregate betting, that's a good advice. If you're on one of those machines and you want to try to bet less than what the minimum says on the table, give it a shot because, the worst case is it's just going to kick the bet back to you and say, you haven't hit the minimum. But if it's aggregate, make all your bets and maybe it'll take. I remember playing one machine. I don't know if it was Shoot to Win or Stadium Gaming or something where the aggregate was separated into sections. So in other words, it was a $5 minimum, and if I wanted to make a pass line bet, it had to be $5.
Yeah,
I couldn't combine it with others. But then if I wanted to place numbers, I could place all the numbers, $6, and that aggregate for the place bets would take.
So like a place bet was one bet, even though it's on different numbers.
Yeah. So I don't know, fool around and maybe you'll end up.
I'll try that on the live table.
Okay.
I know it's a $50 table, but I've got an aggregate of $50.
Make a fuss, okay,
Yeah,
too,
I'll
Mike. I don't understand, Dr. Mike. We opened this $50 table for you.
Make a big fuss about it.
Yeah, he's talking about Bugsy and Meyer's Steakhouse at Flamingo.
Yeah.
We've never been, gosh, I can't remember last time we ate at a restaurant at Flamingo because it has such a bad reputation, but it sounds like maybe this is a good place.
We ate at Bally's, right? The steakhouse?
Yeah, we ate there. Was it a BLT steak?
Yeah,
we
that was
ate
pretty
there.
good.
That was very good, and your sister got food poisoning, but otherwise an excellent
otherwise
meal.
it was an excellent meal.
Yeah. I always think about, now, of course, the Las Vegas, the whole culture of Vegas is, started by the mob, and, you've got Oscar Goodman, who's kind of a beloved character, even though, he was a mob lawyer and that kind of thing.
Right.
And I'm thinking, well, Bugsy and Myers, you're naming this steakhouse after two horrible people, right? Bugsy Siegel, Meyer Lansky, right? It's you got to keep in mind, these were not good men. Now, I'm kind of being funny at the same time. I understand that there's a fascination with the mob and all these bad characters. But, where do you draw the line? I mean,
in this world, Mark, let me enlighten you on that. Being bad is good. Okay.
Right.
There are so many examples of bad, horrible people who have great things happen to them.
Yeah.
And so many examples of good, honest, decent people who struggle.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I don't know. Mobsters, it's almost like they get a pass, right?
Yeah.
Because are you going to have like the Jeffrey Dahmer supper club, right? That's... I think most people would agree, no.
That
There's a line
between.
So, and just keep that in mind when you're eating at these mobsters' houses.
That's what we'll open. That'll be our business plan.
Our casino. We don't seem to be making money. Oh, it's a loss leader. Yeah, the supper club, that's a loss leader for us.
We'll celebrate all the wackos in the world. It'd probably be packed. Honestly, it would probably be packed.
Try our prefix menu. All right, next call. Well, on our last episode, Mike, you were talking about how you had heard that properties were kind of cracking down on people not hitting the back wall on these roll-to-win tables. Well, we actually have a few calls with a little more information. So let's start off with David.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is David from NorCal calling. Just listened to the first part of your latest episode, and I just got back from Vegas literally today. I'm driving right now. And for the roll-to-win tables, when I was talking to the dealers over at the Caesars property that I was staying at in Vegas, they're telling me that management has become pretty strict on them, and that's why there's new rules coming out around it. Apparently, there was a group of dealers from a different place that had come over and were sliding dice, and that was kind of caused the whole ruckus in the last couple of weeks. That's also why they make it so you have to hit the back wall every single time. They actually wound up closing down the two middle spots to prevent people from throwing from those spots as well. The policy is actually for them to call it out when a shooter hits 20 rolls on the roll-to-win table. The cool part, though, is that when I was there yesterday, we wound up extending our trip by a day randomly. I wound up then shooting for just under an hour on the roll-to-win table. I set a new record for the dealers. I hit 69 rolls. Needless to say, I came out pretty happy. They were rooting for me. The table fire color changes to blue at 40, I think, or 20 or 40, but they haven't seen if anything happens after that, and they were hoping that I would break 70 to get that. Unfortunately, I didn't, but it's my longest roll ever. It was an awesome trip. Vegas was a lot of fun, too packed. And I'm going to go back and listen to the rest of your episode now. Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Bye.
Okay. So, yeah, there maybe was some kind of incident where they are now cracking down, hitting the back wall, turning off two of the terminals.
It is a short table.
Yes. You were talking about that last time. Yeah.
So it is a short table. So if you stand next to like where the stickman is there, you don't have far to roll. I mean, you could slide them, I guess, a little. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd have to really, really practice that.
I know that is a lot of it. But I don't know, Aruze, the company that actually makes this, they're probably thinking, oh, gosh, what do we need to do here?
Well, they probably need to make a bigger table.
Maybe that's it. Maybe some of it. Or change the surface somehow. It is kind of that, it's not really plexiglass. I don't know what it is, but it's kind of a clear, surface there. And you were talking about how they were going to get rid of one of the roll-to-win tables at Harris, Southern California.
They did get rid of it.
They are, it's all taken off and everything. So, we'll see.
Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe there's something to that cheating. It just seems like it'd be awfully hard.
I know, but it just takes one incident, though, and then,
Now, I'm trying to remember, are there on the sidewalls, or is there the ribbed padding like there is on a regular craps?
Yeah, I think there is.
Is there?
Yeah. It's more of, the surface, right? The surface on the side. But I think they've got the popcorn stuff on the side. Yeah.
Well, the surface is more of a hard acrylic.
Yeah, right. It's like acrylic. Yeah.
So maybe you could slide dice on that.
Yeah.
Maybe they need to put bumps in it.
Yeah, that's good. Right.
No, I mean,
because it's not like you're doing anything else on the surface of that table. You don't put bets down there.
You don't put bets. You could put bumps on it.
Yeah, that's true. Just make it real bumpy.
Yeah.
Though, I don't know. The dice would probably be less likely to hit the back wall in that situation, though, right?
Maybe
every time they hit a bump, they slow down a little bit.
Or maybe just some lines where there's like a raised hump, like 3 of them, so you can't really.
That's true. Yeah, you've kind of seen that.
You can go over them, but you can't. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
Or this, Mark.
Yeah.
Get rid of the damn things and just have regular craps.
That's another interesting proposition as well, Dr. Mike. Yeah. We'll see if anybody takes that advice.
Spend some money on staff. Hire American hardworking people to come in and work for you.
Yeah. All right.
How about that?
That's another good suggestion. Let's hear from Landry here. He actually talks about this a little bit too in his call.
Hey, this is Landry from Orlando. Oh, by the way, I hope you had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
You too.
Quick craps overview, followed by some results and general curiosity questions. I just returned from 3-night stay in Vegas at the Cosmo. And during that time, it was the least number of open craps table compared to a number of other Vegas trips I've made. This was evident at pretty much all the casinos we visited. And the Cosmo, the last trip there was in August. They actually removed their Roll to Win craps machine. Now, Planet Hollywood only had one live table, but they also had the Roll to Win craps table there. The monitors that were disabled were the traditional stick left and stick right positions. I think they're trying to keep people further away from that back wall. The minimums range from $15 to $25 for most places. And let's move on to the results here. I'm just looking at some of my notes. All sessions were done at the empty tables. I prefer to do that so I can shoot the dice, and lots of bets for the crew. My first session was actually at Planet Hollywood at the $15 table. Buy-in was $400. I left with $405. That still counts as a win in my book. All my other sessions were done at Cosmo, and all within a 24-hour period. Session 2 was the first session at Cosmo, and that was at the $15 table. Buy-in was $400, left with $881. Then the next session was at the $25 table. This time the table manager was different than it was at the previous session. They originally did not take my wife's Players Club card. It does happen, but rarely. A minute later, I noticed that the guy from my previous session did come over and whisper to that guy, and then he tells me afterward that he'll go ahead and take my Players Club. Now, I really do think it was due to my previous session, as I tend to make a lot of bets for the crew and actually won a number of bets for them. So I think that kind of helped. The guy said, go ahead and take his card. And this session, the buy-in was $400, and unfortunately you're left with $0. Usually it's the fault of the dice for a loss like this, but I will take full responsibility, as it was mainly due to bad money management and playing too aggressively too soon. For session 4, that was at the $15 table. Buy-in was $500, and I left with more than $1,000. By the way, did you know a $1,000 chip is yellow? That was a good lesson that I enjoyed to learn that day. Not only hitting points in hard ways, but also randomly calling out $5 yo bets for me and the crew and hitting them as well. So that actually was very enjoyable. Session 5 was back at the $15 table. Buy-in was $500. Unfortunately, left the table with only $22. Took the chips. My little sad, pouty face walked away. Happened to be walking by a roulette table with a $25 minimum, pulled out $3, added it to my $22 stack of chips, and requested a single bet covering 4 numbers. 18 red pops up, winner, winner, grabbed my $200 win and my $25 chip and went back to the same craps table. Pulled out another $200 to add to my roulette money. The crew had a good laugh at what happened, basically continued like I never left, eventually ended up leaving the session up over $200. Overall, played 6 sessions, won 4 and lost 2. I'd gladly take that every time. 2 quick curiosity questions. One, when you see 2 empty tables, which do you choose? Is it based on table, crew, a special feeling, or simply take the one closest to the bathroom? The other one is whether it's a winning session or a bad losing session. When you go play that same day, do you go back to that same table or purposely choose another? That's basically it for a report. Enjoy the new year. Thanks for all you do.
Yeah, if we go to a casino that we're familiar with, like Arizona, California, and we see 2 empty tables, we'll probably go to the one based on the crew. Don't you think that's it, Mike?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
If they're both completely empty, yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. But if we were in Vegas and say we were walking into Mirage and there were 2 empty tables and we didn't know any of those dealers, we would go to the one that was the closest to our point right there.
Yeah, just as soon as we walk in, here's one. Yeah, I agree. It was the same thing.
Because why walk those few extra steps?
Right. Okay, so the second question, if, we had played on a table, win or lose, and then, we take a break or go eat or whatever, and we come back, are we going to go to the same table, different table? Will it matter if we won or lost?
Depends on how crowded the table is.
Well, he's saying let's say empty, because that was really his question. Let's say it's empty.
If it's the only one empty, we'd go to that one. If there was that one and say another one empty, it would depend on which one was closest.
I think it would depend on our experience with the crew the first time.
Yeah, right.
If it had been a good crew, we'd say, hey, this was good. We'll just go here.
Right.
If it wasn't a good crew, we'll go to the other one.
If the crew was not good, we'd go to another table.
Yeah.
But if we had lost and the crew was pretty good, then we'd realize that, every roll's independent of every other one. And we would go back to that same table and play, right?
No, I agree. I love the story Landry's talking about how he, lost. And so he went over to roulette, made a bet.
Yeah, right.
I love stories about people who, I wasn't doing good at craps, so I went over to play some blackjack so I could make a little money and go back to the craps table and play. Right? It works the other way, too. I've heard it. Well, I was losing so much at blackjack, I decided to go to craps, win a little money, and then come back and play blackjack.
Whatever you need to say in your mind to, settle your mind that the world is right, then that's what you'd say.
Agreed. He was talking about $1,000 chips, yellow, where he was playing.
Right.
Some places they're orange.
Right.
It's going to depend. Pumpkin color. If they're yellow, they're called bananas. So it'll depend on the casino. But those are the two most common colors, yellow and orange.
I prefer brown chips, but.
Do you?
Yeah, I like those brown ones.
Those chocolate.
The chocolate.
The chocolate ones, yeah. Well, everybody loves those, Dr. Mike. And then, he's confirming that at least at Planet Hollywood, they had those two terminals next to where a typical stick man would be.
Right.
Closed because they were too close to the back wall, I guess.
So how many terminals then are left?
I think it's 10 on the table.
Is it 10?
Right,
So,
now
goes
it's
down to 8.
Yeah, 4 on each side. So, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, will they make enough money?
I know, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I would think they still would make enough money because, again, you're only paying one dealer.
Right.
And the dealer doesn't have to be a good craps dealer, right? All they have to do is, input the numbers. So
they basically have to see somebody that can read dice.
Right.
Oh, it's a 3 and a 2. I got to hit the 3 and the 2.
Or should I hit the 2 and the 3?
Yeah.
Floor?
Yeah, I mean, they literally could have a person who's not a craps dealer, who's maybe I don't know how legally that works.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. If
I think well, of course they'd have to have a license, but I think ideally they really would want a craps dealer,
right?
Just so they know the game. So if there is some kind of dispute or something,
right?
Yeah. All right, last call.
Yeah, hi. This is Logan from Hawaii. I had a theory on why they calling out 12 rows or more. It's because when Mark just came back from Zorkfest, he and his group of friends went to Golden Gate, and only one shooter held the dice for 45 minutes, and they all won, and they walked away from the table. So I'm starting to think that maybe that's why the casinos are implementing call out 12 rows, is because these group of players show up, their one friend who can shoot 45 minutes, and then they all walk away with a profit. So I guess the casino wants to ensure that doesn't happen again, or try and ice the shooter by doing stupid stuff on the table so they take less of a loss. And it could be that all of the regression bettors that go on the table and they all buy in for 5,000, they take 3-4 hits, take the profit, and walk away. That could be a theory, but I also could be wrong. So, thank you.
Yeah, probably not. Casinos, they're most concerned. Well, of course, they're concerned about cheating. So, that can be a big part of it, as we've been talking about.
Right.
They also want a fast game. We'll see sometimes a pit getting annoyed, like, send them, because they want to get to that inevitable 7, right?
Right.
But they're really not going to be concerned about wagers or, good shooters. There's really no such thing as a good shooter, and even regression, because ultimately the casino still has an edge on all the bets.
Yeah.
So they're really more concerned about things that are going on that shouldn't be going on. So, not that casinos haven't been superstitious in the past. There are probably plenty of floor people out there who are superstitious and, send a cooler in or something like that. But no, for the most part, it's just to avoid cheating and to keep the game moving.
It's ridiculous is what it is, Mark, because they don't have much to worry about from the general public.
When it comes to the game itself, all the math is built in.
Right.
And there could be streaks that work against the casino,
Right, and there's streaks that work for them. Mm-hmm. I never hear them call out, hey, immediate 7 out over here, we won! This guy went all the way across and it was an immediate 7 out, the casino raked it in. They don't call that out. Why are they calling out 12 roll? I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Also, my other thing that I really want to work on this, how do I get one of those friends who's always a good roller? Because I need one of those who can come. You're pretty close.
I'm not bad.
You do have some good rolls.
Yeah.
But I want one that's always a good roller.
You know what? Go to Craigslist. Put an ad in Craigslist.
That's the best way to do it?
That's the best way to do it, Dr. Mike.
Nice.
Yeah.
I just put on Craigslist looking for somebody who can always roll hard 8s on dice.
Yeah. And make sure you interview them.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people try to claim they're good shooters.
Right.
And it turns out they're not.
They're not.
All right.
Okay.
So, make sure you
Well, I
vet
have
them.
to because I'm going to add them as a friend. I mean, I'm going to be hanging out with them a lot. I hope they live close. I hope it's not some guy from Antarctica. Oh, yeah, I can always do that.
Well,
You're in
that does me no
Antarctica.
good. Why'd you
Yeah.
even respond?
Yeah, why'd you even? Well, it's Craigslist. It goes everywhere.
Yeah, you should just limit it to the San Diego area. You can do that.
Yeah,
that's
okay.
right. All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode. We want to thank some people for some recurring donations. James and the Color Up Craps YouTube channel. Thank you very much. We also got a donation from Asher. Karma donation for my first Las Vegas New Year's trip. Keep up the good work, gentlemen. Oh, well, hopefully you had a good time, man. It
Yeah.
can be crazy in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So.
It's not as crazy as it used to be, though.
No, but it's still pretty crazy. I don't know if you were seeing some of the video. Yeah,
It's still crazy, but back in the day when they still allowed glass out on the,
Oh.
and the street was wall-to-wall people, and
Yeah.
people are throwing bottles of beer up in the air randomly.
Right.
That was crazy.
Not quite as bad as
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Also, a donation from our friend Todd Goddess. Thanks for the last year of entertaining shows, and here's to a great 2022. Well, thank you, Todd. And finally, a donation from Kevin. Karma donation headed to Dubuque, and thanks for the great shows. Oh, well, good luck, Kevin.
Yep.
Hey, be sure to check out our TV listing showing all the gambling-related shows coming up within the next 2 weeks at youcanbetonthat.com/TV-listings and our list of gambling-related movies at youcanbetonthat.com/movies. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512 wagers.
Or you can email us at youcanbetonthat@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at youcanbetonthat and on Facebook at facebook.com/youcanbetonthat. Finally, please go to your favorite podcast app and write a review of the show. We love getting your feedback. Dr. Mike, what do you got for us?
Well, I was thinking while we were talking here about you retiring, and since I'm never going to retire, things aren't going to change for me.
yeah.
But for you, you do retire. Honestly, you should just go to casinos with a notepad and a nice pencil and just go around and take notes on all the stupid stuff and then request meetings with whoever, is the casino floor manager or whatever, and let them know what they're doing wrong so they can fix it.
I think they would appreciate that.
Yeah, they would appreciate you.
I think
just casino to casino, that can be your job. Eventually, it might turn into even a little side job.
Okay, we'll buy an RV.
Yeah.
We'll travel the country.
Yeah. You'll let them know, like, okay, first thing, why are the TVs showing?
Yeah, that's going to be
supernatural?
number one on all my list. In fact,
yeah.
I'll have it printed on the pad. That'll be
Right.
the first thing, so I don't have to write it down because it's always going to be a problem.
It's always going to be a problem.
Yeah,
Yeah. Why is the TV on, I Love Lucy?
Nobody seems to care. All right, thanks, Dr. Mike.
Yeah, those are things you could go around. You could solve a lot of their problems.
Yeah.
Like this pit guy over in, blah, blah, blah pit, was so concerned about the guy getting 2 blackjacks in a row. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You're going to get all of his money at the end of the day.
Boy, the casinos are really going to appreciate my input.
it. You'd probably be like a hero, a casino hero. There'd be like pit bosses with a T-shirt on underneath their regular shirt with your picture.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I can't see any problem with this, Dr. Mike. Thank you. Yeah.
And it'll give you something to do.
Yep.
You'll live in an RV, you'll travel the country,
Yep.
you'll fix all that. And the people that go will appreciate it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's like,
You know who I am? You know who I am? Just going up to people at the table. Do you know who I am?
I'm the guy that checks out all the casinos and tells them what they're doing wrong.
Oh, nice to meet you. All right. Thanks for listening.
Good night.
Okay, let's thin this herd. Untucked shirt, no thank you. Born in San Diego, yikes.
An adult named Todd?
So, this is what online dating is like?